Hi you guys, welcome back. Got another blast from the past video for you, and yes, it's about trustee Tiffany Henyard. The goal with these throwback clips is to take a step back and really understand how Dolton's local government and political system created the pathway for someone like Tiffany Henyard to even have the opportunity to become mayor. And let me be clear when I say opportunity. I'm not implying that women of color shouldn't be given leadership roles. Not at all. What I am saying is that women like Tiffany Henyard, this type of leadership, should never have been handed that kind of power.
I gotta have all this controversy. Why I gotta have all this back and forth with my boy? For what? Ain't no stopping us now.
No! God, please, no! No!
When I put you in your seat, trustee house, trustee Belcher never would have been a trustee. I the one made it possible for you guys to sit where you are now. And all I want to do is help the people. That's it.
Women like Tiffany Henyard, who are clearly underqualified for any type of leadership role, whether it's in fast food, retail, or government, should have never been given the chance to run.
Right when I got in the seat, it been nothing but turmoil because people want to control. They thought I was a young, naive woman that was going to sit here and do what they say. I'm no puppet. But as you saw, Trustee Tammy Brown is a puppet. She just said that she don't read. So if she don't read, how does she know how to vote when she come here? That means she are told how to vote.
Stop it. Get some help.
She are told how to vote.
An entire village. Honestly, that's just my opinion. So today we're diving into a little history lesson, the pre-Tiffany Henyard era. Before she became mayor, she served as a trustee, and these board meeting clips from 2014 are super telling. They help us understand exactly how someone like Tiffany even got close to that mayor's seat. And trust me, it didn't happen overnight. It was a build-up enabled by the dysfunction of the system around her. We're going to take a look at how the local government operated back then and shine a light on some of the major players. Because believe it or not, Tiffany didn't act alone, she had help. And when I say help, I'm talking about her partners in chaos, Robert Hunt and Stan Brown. I call them the dynamic trio, because when it came time to vote, they were. Like synchronized swimmers always on the same page, always backing each other up. But first up, let's look at a budget discussion. The man speaking is Stan Irving, who was the village administrator at the time. He's presenting a list of proposed budget cuts, trying to save the village some money. And sure, trimming expenses can be necessary. But wait till you hear what else he suggests. So he recommends eliminating the full-time administrative assistant role, which had a $55,000 salary. Instead, he proposes hiring a part-time assistant for $12 an hour, 25 hours a week, about $15,600 annually. That's a big cut. Sounds like he's serious about saving money, right? But then he turns around and suggests giving himself a raise. Yup. While he's out here slashing other people's jobs and income, he wants his own salary bumped from $78,000 to $100,000. And although they didn't approve the full $22,000 increase, they did raise him to $85,000. Still, the audacity like. How do you push cost-cutting measures for everyone else, then slide in a raise for yourself on the same document? The tone deafness is unreal. And the residents. Oh, they had something to say about it. Rightfully so. But it gets worse. It's the same. Administrator Stan Irving ended up getting fired not long after. Why? Allegations of misconduct. Sexual harassment, to be specific. A resident brought up an old newspaper article about him that revealed he'd been fired from 2 prior positions, one in Bellwood and another in Westchester, Illinois. Let that sink in. 2 prior firings. Yet somehow, he ended up on Dolton's payroll. No proper background checks, no red flags raised, nothing. The resident flat out said it. Someone's not doing their homework. And to make matters worse, he was still collecting a paycheck while those sexual harassment allegations were floating around. The community had to put up with that. Taxpayer dollars still going to someone with a shady history? That's a slap in the face. Now let's shift gears because the dysfunction didn't stop with administrative hires. The Dolton firefighters were also getting a raw deal of in before Tiffany became mayor. Their issues didn't just start during her administration, they go back at least to 2014. These firefighters were overworked, understaffed, and underappreciated. Their union contracts and collective bargaining agreements weren't being honored. Things got so bad, they had to file official grievances against the village just to get fair treatment. In one of these board meetings, the mayor at the time addresses a formal grievance sitting on everyone's desk. It lists the days and the number of firefighters who had worked 3 shifts in a row, no breaks. That's not just unfair, it's dangerous for the firefighters and the people they serve. Another trustee also speaks up about the issue. We'll get into that next. But here's the thing. These are systemic issues. The cracks were already showing long before Tiffany Henyard rose to power. What she did, she exploited those cracks. She didn't fix the system. She saw the dysfunction, and instead of challenging it, she jumped right in and started playing the same dirty game. So yeah, when people ask how someone like Tiffany Henyard became mayor, just roll the tapes. The answers are all right here. Isn't that something? The fire chief is literally explaining how the firefighters are being overworked. 72 hours straightened, yet trustee Sabrina Smith is out here acting like it's no big deal. She's trying to argue that just because they aren't physically out fighting fires every second of those 3 days, they shouldn't be tired. Like, girl, what? Let's break it down. These firefighters are working 3 24-hour shifts in a row. It's 72 hours where they have to be on standby, ready to spring into action at any moment. And Sabrina's response? Well, they're not fighting fires the whole time. Ma'am, being on call away from family and not getting proper rest is exhausting. You don't have to be carrying a hose to be burnt out. And shout out to the fire chief for standing his ground. Makes it clear. It's not about running into burning buildings non-stop. It's about being alert. It's mentally and physically ready to go at any hour. It's about missing sleep, missing family, missing life. That's fatigue. It's real. Now let's be honest, unless you've done that job. You sit this one out instead of questioning what these firefighters go through. Because it really sounded like she was minimizing their experiences. And that's just wrong. And let's not forget Tiffany Henyard's track record with the fire department either. Remember how she treated them when they voiced their concerns? Total disregard. While they stood up and said they were working without health insurance, losing retirement funds, and not even getting proper workers' comp, she just sat there and brushed it off like it didn't matter. Issue after issue. Our health care, our safety, none of it's being handled. And Tiffany's response? Call the next person. Cold, unbothered, dismissive. That's who she's always been. It didn't stop there. Let's move on to another board meeting where Trustee Pearson calls out the hypocrisy of other trustees voting to increase their training budgets while cutting costs in other areas. Yeah, he calls out Robert Huntgood, old reading Robert, for voting to add $4,000 to each trustee's training allowance. But wait, it gets better. They already get $13,000 that they don't even have to provide receipts for. Taxpayer money. No accountability. As of today, she's clearly nitpicking the trustees about their training reimbursements, specifically telling them their hotel costs wouldn't be covered. But let's rewind. When she was a trustee, she had no issue dropping $13,000 or more on training and travel expenses. And the kicker? She didn't even have to provide receipts. Now, I don't know if y'all caught it, but during that same discussion, she told the trustees there's now an expense account they can use. But here's the part that matters. She said the money was just put in there today, meaning when they actually needed it for that hotel, there was nothing there. But suddenly now, after the trip is over, the money magically appears. That's not transparency. That's game playing. What this really shows is the deep hypocrisy between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and Trustee Tiffany Henyard. It's like two different people, but both playing by their own rules. A lot of people have said she ran for mayor purely out of spite, just to get revenge for how she felt she was treated as a trustee. And honestly, that theory checks out. She's even started to sound like the previous mayor, the very one she used to criticize. I mean, listen to the way she shuts people down in meetings, cuts off trustees mid-sentence, controls the agenda like it's her personal to-do list. It's eerie how similar it all is. So let's do a quick comparison so y'all can hear it for yourselves. One mayor says you were not recognized. The other one says know your place, learn your seat. One's yelling call the roll, while the other says we're moving on. Even when trustees are literally trying to make motions, it's wild. It's like dossier vu. So when you put their quotes side by side, it's hard to tell who said what. They both use the same tactics. Dominate the meeting, dismiss opposition. Bulldoze through any dissent. It's not leadership, it's control. And here's another red flag. Trustees aren't even allowed to place items on the meeting agenda anymore. Tiffany removed their ability to do that. Everything goes through her office. Trustees are literally sitting there asking why their submitted agenda items were taken off. They're being ignored, disrespected, shut down. What does she say? When called out, we're moving forward. It's the exact same chaos she used to complain about. Now she's the one creating it. And let's talk about the budget one more time. She claims to be cracking down on spending meanwhile. She's the same person who spent thousands on herself while demanding fiscal responsibility from others. She even said trustees should pay out of pocket for their own hotel rooms during conferences. Then turned around and approved inflated budgets for herself. And don't even get me started on how she reacts when things don't go her way. Interruptions, yelling, power trip sits, all too familiar. Honestly, I don't know if the previous mayor had the same wild spending habits. But from what I've seen in those old board meetings, at least he didn't go all out lavish like Tiffany does. He may have had control issues, but Tiffany added luxury, ego, and personal gain to the mix. So that's it for today's video. If y'all want more flashbacks or side-by-side comparisons, let me know in the comments. If you like this breakdown, be sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.